Hello. Hello, police. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. Now, before I start this video, it's important for me to mention that the author does not seek to discredit any previous accounts or versions of events leading up to the gruesome murders. He merely offers an interesting alternative scenario to be considered. The following exchange of his 2 henchmen confirmed the team's assumption. They would give Porky a day. Then Thursday they would turn the screws on him, as he now knew their plan. If they had to take the little cunt on a bit of work with them and leave him in the fucking field, that wouldn't be a problem. The gang saw an opportunity and would take it at any cost to others. D.I. Ellis had been with them for the last half an hour. So you're at the yard for the next few days then, Bill, I hear? Sounds like things are getting a bit too difficult for us to just sit back. Have they got anything planned? It wasn't invasive from D.I. Ellis, just conversational. But he was Bill's immediate senior, so he had to say something. Not that they're telling me, Gov. I would suspect the operation will have to go ahead without the involvement of Essex Police. The operation should still achieve a decent result. In fact, a better result, I'd say. We get our Essex boys on a large cocaine importation alongside the firm from East London. 2 for the price of 1. I guess the timing out there in the dark might be a bit touch and go. Let's hope they don't all shoot each other before we can nick them. D.I. Ellis laughed as he finished up. The DCs were laughing too. Bill did his best to join in. Bill had noted the absence of the DCI and the superintendent when he'd been at the yard earlier in the morning. The mysterious Mr. P was clearly in the chair and running this one. Bill wouldn't be letting information flow up the chain of command if it hadn't flowed down. Bill reckoned the day was done for the Essex boys. It was a Tuesday, not a big club night, and the team had no reason to think anything else was due to happen. Of course, at any moment a rival firm might turn up on the scene and create havoc. That, however, should have been picked up on someone else's watch. If it hadn't, then it was unlikely to be happening. So the branch team called it a night. It would be business as usual for the office again the next day. Bill would be working on the same material, but at the yard they would assume. They'd all stay in touch, and not much more to do but listen and report. Bill arrived early at the yard. He had woken in the small hours and not found sleep again. The gun range was in the basement, and he was taken directly there upon his arrival. What was waiting for him was a standard 5-shot Browning semi-automatic shotgun, not the weapon he had asked for. Bill was disappointed, but in the absence of anyone other than the range sergeant, what could he say? Bill worked his way through a box of shells. It meant 5 sessions with the gun. 25 rounds in the standard box of 12-gauge shotgun cartridges here in the UK. There were more boxes if he wanted. There was no need. The gun felt comfortable in his hands and he shot like he'd always done. It was a bit like riding a bike, he told himself. The old adage everyone used for things you'd not done for a long time but should be able to pick up where you left off. Bill asked where the canteen was. He needed a cup of tea at least. He'd not had breakfast and by now was starving. The gun had felt familiar and comfortable. But Bill suddenly had the feeling of being rather alone in the world. Mr. P found him munching on a cheese and ham toastie. Bill was about to raise the gun issue, the main concern on his mind. Bill, let me stop you there. We've got the tool of your choice. It's waiting for you at a location. There's no need to be travelling around London with it. Point taken. What's the drill then? Well, we think this could be on for this evening, Bill. The surveillance on your boys is being pulled as we speak. Budget will do as a good enough reason. I mean, they weren't getting anywhere, were they? Anyway, that'll make our Sergeant Green a bit more comfortable. He's going to be kept busy for the day, then we'll free him up early evening. Now, it gets dark from around 4 in the afternoon. We know the ground. John has some similar skills and reckons you'll be happy. So we'll have you on site around dusk. We will try to manoeuvre this to get the targets to you early evening. There's no point hanging around all night. John will collect you as soon as you're done. You and John have the afternoon to do a recce and work it out between you. If it's not a go tonight, then it's going to be tomorrow. It's no good trying to do this when they're on site thinking the plane is due, as we know by then they'll be heavily armed. And how do you know they won't be armed tonight? Bill, cut in. Okay, Bill, this is the sticky bit. Mr. P paused momentarily and a penny suddenly dropped for Bill. There are two scenarios here, Bill, and we're a little bit grey on how it will go down. The reason we've pulled the surveillance today is that we hope it'll entice them to all arrive together. Porky Green will be able to find the location again easily enough on the map when he checks this morning. We know he's told them it's a farm track and the weather's pretty poor at the moment. We have Tucker floating about in a Range Rover, so expect that to be the vehicle of choice. It's a dirt track off a busy main road where there's nowhere to park. It's been chosen for a number of factors, and we expect if they all come into play properly for us, it will drive the prey forward as we want. Porky won't want to take his own motor out to the place. As we know, he's quite happy to jump in the motor with this lot. He thinks they're his mates and he believes he's safe. The timescale means that the gang have to see the location ASAP. They think they need to be operational in 2 days' time. They ain't got time to keep going backwards and forwards, and the more visits means the more likelihood of someone remembering their motor. So our best estimate is they will go at the earliest opportunity to survey the ground. Now, if Sergeant Green agrees to show Tucker today, and I'm sure they'll all prefer to go in the dark, then we expect them to be over there sometime in the early evening. John will take you over the ground. He has some ideas and you can work out where you think it's best to deal with them. They'll have a serving police officer in the car with them. The penny had dropped hard, and it was as Bill had suspected. Yes, Bill, we believe they will, and we think this is the best opportunity. They are definitely not going to be concerned about their safety with a serving policeman on board, and they won't be armed. It would compromise both them and Sergeant Green. Now, they may be headbangers, but they, like all the scum out there, know that anyone of their ilk would never kill a copper. It's just more trouble than it's worth. A shotgun round is not the most predictable of ballistic devices, and it can get real messy in a close space if you're the wrong end of it. Bill wasn't comfortable with what was going down. Bill, I'm not for one moment suggesting we shoot our Sergeant Green, although he might deserve no less. No, not at all. Let me finish. There is some science and psychology gone into this, and it's not as gung-ho as it sounds. You'll understand better when you see the ground. I had a look myself, and I'm comfortable with the predicted course of events, and of course, the final decision lies with you. If you don't think you can achieve the objective, then you abort. We do not want any dead policemen, no matter how bent they are. Essex has enough problems already. OK, go on, I'm listening. Bill should have known it wasn't going to be as straightforward as it sounded the day before. Nothing in life ever was. OK, Bill, now, at a point a good way along the track, well away from the main highway and in a very overgrown wooded area, is a gate. It goes across the single track and it will be closed but not locked. Just one of the standard sort of things you find all over the country. From this point you can't see the field and you need to drive through it to get to the destination which Sergeant Green is going to show them. In the dark, and with the weather that we are having, it's very unlikely that anyone is going to want to leave the warmth and comfort of a Range Rover to proceed on foot. The gate also has no sign to say private or keep out. Not that that would deter these guys, but just in case. We expect the car to pull up, and the lowest man in the pecking order in the vehicle will get out and open the gate. The lowest man in the pecking order also happens to be the only one in the car who knows where they're going. He's seen the map, and he's their guide for the evening. All the psychology tells us is that Green will either be volunteering quickly to open the gate or be told to by Tate. He will either be in the front passenger seat or in one of the rear seats. As he leaves the car, the interior light should come on. This will clearly illuminate the car's remaining occupants, and should our three be sat there, then you will be presented with an opportunity. At this point, we are sure they'll be unarmed. If they are not all present, then we would expect all three to return in the vehicle within the next 24 hours, most likely under the cover of darkness. But if it's daylight, then there's no reason to hold back if the opportunity arises. John will be on hand for your extraction. Obviously we need all three, or at an absolute minimum Tate and Tucker in the vehicle, before you engage. If they have a fourth member of the gang on the visit, then it's most likely going to be their foot soldier, and we have no objection to him joining his friends in hell. Bill, I want to make it clear, no survivors. It just makes it so much more complicated. Personally, I much favour the first opportunity, as they will be unarmed. Their first visit with their little piggy will be when they're at their most relaxed, especially as they will know that the surveillance is off them. It will all seem like things have fallen into place for them. It will also solve another little problem that we have to resolve. And what if they're all in the car on the first visit and Sergeant Green is leaning on the gate? What do I do with him? Bill was still trying to take it all in and make sense of what he was being told. Mr. P seemed extremely confident of how it would play out. Bill had been to war, and the first casualty was always the plan. Oh, Bill, our Sergeant Green will shit himself. I would love to be there for that one. One of the advantages of this is that the man knows you, and he should recognise you. Under the war paint, of course, which I'm told we have for you along with all the right clothing. So once he's recovered his senses, you take him with you. We will deal with him, I can personally assure you of that. We'll have a nice little chat with him, and then he can go back to work. He won't ever get higher than a sergeant, and he can spend the rest of his days making up for his error of judgment. If he was able to live with his former deception, he'll have no difficulty living with this one. He'll be too terrified to ever step out of line again, so it's a win-win. We end up with a reasonable copper, working his little nuts off forever, and of course if we ever need anything special from him, we only have to ask. Rather like you're asking me now, sir. Bill couldn't help feeling he was between a rock and a hard place. No, Bill, no. Nothing like where you are now. You have always been a team player. It's never been a question. We look after our own, Bill. You should know that. You have been listening to the book Once Upon a Time in Essex. This book is available to purchase online at Amazon and other online book retailers. Many thanks for joining me for this video. Very shortly you'll be able to see some other videos from the channel, including the Essex Boys playlist, which has all of the videos concerning this case in one convenient folder. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video. Take care. Cheers.